explain to me the concept behind the Sobr Market and what it's going to do.
So Sobr Market is a Manitoba franchise that got started in Manitoba by a couple in Winnipeg. And Dauphin Sobr Market is the third store in Manitoba. So there's two in Winnipeg and then us right now. They're a very young company. And so they've got storefronts on both coasts, and then a couple kind of scattered throughout the rest of the provinces, but there's still, I'm going to say, like less than 12 stores for sure.
Okay.
In a market that is starting to quickly develop. So people looking, or we call it the Sobr Curious market, people looking for alternatives given a multitude of reasons. So there are those that are on their sobriety journey. There are those that, for medical reasons, can't drink anymore. There are those that are just choosing because of drinking and driving laws and safety and all that kind of stuff. They're just looking for other options for when they're not necessarily at home, or even when they're at home. And so we're providing an opportunity for them to come in and find something that suits their preferences. So we have a wide range of spirit replacements, so rums, whiskeys, vodkas, tequilas, from different producers from across Canada, the States, and overseas. We have a wide selection of wines, both white, rosé, red, sparkling, again, some Canadian-made, some Manitoba-made, most of them from elsewhere as well. So we've got like Italian wine and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then we have wine alternatives, which are kind of, they're not meant to taste like a wine. They're more of a fruity type of bubbly drink.
Okay.
And then we have cocktails. So, I've got a pina colada and I've got a margarita. So they're designed with a flavor profile that gives you the feeling of that alcoholic beverage that you might not want to have anymore or can't have anymore. Mm-hmm. And so I'm excited. The demographic is exploding exponentially. Last I heard, even you might want to double check this, but Manitoba Liquor and Lotteries saw a decrease in the purchase of alcohol.
Right.
In their last reporting, I was talking to somebody who serves on the board, and the board was kind of panicking, and they're like, well, no, we advertised not to be conscious and to be careful, and so if people are reducing their alcohol intake, that's actually a good thing, even though it doesn't help with their bottom line.
Right.
But I think people are starting to look, I've got guys that come in and grab an IPA and go ice fishing, because then they don't have to worry about their sleds, they don't have to worry about the trucks coming off the ice.
Right.
But they still have that experience. And some of them, I've had people we have a tasting bar, so all of our bottled spirits, liqueurs, you can come and try them at any time. We'll give you a shot to try, because we want people to like what they're buying before they purchase it, because the price points are comparable to what you would pay at the liquor store. And so I had a guy come in and he looked at me, he goes, "You're kidding, right?" I'm like, "No." I said, "That is a zero, there's no alcohol in that product." And he bought a bottle of whiskey and came back a week later and bought 2 more bottles and said,
wow,
"This is the best stuff I've had." So the companies work really, really hard on flavor profiles to get, I've got a tequila that has a burn. It's got peppers and ginger in it that actually leave that sensation in your mouth. And even with tequila, I said, you always have that that breathe in that you can still feel the tequila.
Yeah.
I've got a tequila that does that.
Wow.
That people can't tell the difference when you mix it with whatever your mixed beverage is. So I think it's a really cool niche market that the company was really excited for us to look at in Dauphin, because we have kind of cottage country festival area, as well as just a need for people who, a lot of them don't feel included within that space. They go to the bar, there's not a lot for them to have. They go to restaurants, there's not a lot for them to have if they don't want to have a Pepsi or a Sprite.
Right.
And so part of my process is wholesale as well. So I'm going to hit the road soon on my days when I'm not at the store and start hitting up some of the restaurants, the event golf courses. I'm going to go talk to caddies, those kind of things.
Right.
And I'm already in initial conversations with Elkhorn and the spa about possibly providing them with options for their guests. So we've got a really nice opportunity to present an alternative to people that might fill their their wellness plans or their health requirements, that doesn't alienate them from the culture that has been created by the consumption of alcohol.
Right.
And nothing against people who drink. I still have a glass of wine when I want to, right?
Right.
But there's an inclusivity kind of component to it where, if somebody goes to somebody's house and the first thing that they offer them is a beer. And if they're not drinking, then how do you say no to somebody who doesn't understand your circumstances or doesn't need to understand your circumstances?
You shouldn't have to explain yourself.
Yeah, but I've got 60-year-olds that are coming in going, I just can't stand the peer pressure of having a drink when I go to my friend's place, so I'm taking my own stuff, and they don't ask me anymore because it looks like I bought it at the LC.
Wow.
Right? So it's a really interesting space, and it's kind of exciting. There's a lot of education to it. We have things called functionals that actually contain adaptogens and nootropics, things like lion's mane mushroom that actually have positive impact on your body systems. Those come in some of our beverages. So it's got a little bit of something for everybody.
I haven't heard of much or any of this outside of non-alcoholic beers and some wines. But how did you get onto this?
So our middle daughter Mary works for got a job with the company back in August.
Okay.
And kind of like she's always been interested in the service industry, and this is kind of a different space. And I went to go see her one time at the Academy store, is kind of their main store in Winnipeg.
Right.
And she said, Mom, you got to try some of this stuff. And we tried the tequila, and I'm like, wow, that's not bad. And then she kind of said, this would be great for Dauphin. She goes, there's nothing like this up there. And she said, just with thinking about the people around there, she said it would be a really nice alternative. So we were wholesaling initially for them, just having some product in the store.
Yeah.
And then started talking more with Mary, our daughter. And I said, I wonder if I should look at franchising. And I was kind of taking my time and then talked with the two co-CEOs, and they went, we would love to be up in the parkland. And they were like super excited that we were even contemplating it. And so then we kind of fast-tracked everything. And so I completed franchising just not quite a month ago.
Okay.
And so now we are able to do wholesaling through ourselves for the company and work with organizations. And she kind of got me onto it, and I started taking some of the product and sort of talking to people. Actually, I had somebody come into the store asking about Mary and what she was doing, and said she was working for Sober Market. And they went, oh, my gosh, we go into the city, and that's one of the stops we make. Are you bringing stuff in? At that point, where we just a minimal amount of stock.
Right.
And she said, if you can bring, and I can bring in whatever. And she goes, if you could bring this in, it would save me a trip to the city. And so we started